Good morning, children. Today in this class I am going to revise the second chapter for effective examinations. Okay. Now let us start the lesson revision. Energy from the sun. Okay. In this lesson we have discussed about how the earth is getting energy from the sun. The earth is getting the solar energy in the forms of two ways, that are in the forms of sun's light and heat. The earth is getting the energy. Okay, and how the different temperature levels that are present on the surface of the earth, and why the temperatures are varying from a place to place on the surface of the earth, and how the days and nights are formed on the surface of the earth, and how the seasons were formed on the surface of the earth. Okay, these are the so many topics we have discussed in this lesson, and the highest recorded temperature and the lowest temperature the recorded. Okay, about all these we have discussed. Okay, now let us discuss and now let us revise them once again for the examination point of view. Okay, now let us start with the definition, that is insolation. What is meant by insolation? Insolation. Here, insolation means the amount of solar energy received by the earth. It is called insolation. Okay, the amount of solar energy that is received by the earth, that is called insolation. Okay, now let us see about the radiation. Radiation. The amount of solar energy which will radiated out, or which is coming out from the, or which is gives out from the earth, that is called radiation. Okay, the amount of, if any object gives out the energy, that is called radiation. Okay, what is meant by solar radiation? Solar radiation means the amount of energy released by the sun, that is called solar radiation. Okay, what is meant by Earth's radiation? The amount of energy that is giving out from the earth, that is called Earth's radiation. Okay, now let us see the definition of radiation. Radiation means the amount of energy gives out from a body, that is called radiation. Okay, now let us see about the angle of incidence. Angle of incidence. What is meant by angle of incidence? Angle of incidence means the angle at which the sun rays are fall on the surface of the earth. Okay, the angle at which the sun rays are falling on the surface of the earth, that are called angle of incidence. That is called the angle of incidence. The sun rays falls at which angle the sun rays falls on the surface of the earth, that is called angle of incidence. Okay, now let us see about the angle of incidence. Let us see about the concept of angle of incidence. Now let us assume that if it is the earth, okay, if it is the earth, it is the equator. It is 0 degrees equator. Angle of incidence. Okay. When the sun rays which are directly falls on the surface of the earth, the temperature levels also very higher. Okay. The angle of incidence is, or the sun rays are directly falls on the equatorial region. Equatorial region. On the equatorial region, the sun rays are falling directly. The sun rays are falling directly. These are sun rays. Let us assume that these are sun rays. Okay. The angle between the sun rays which are falling on the surface of the earth, that is called angle of incidence. When the angle of incidence is about 90 degrees, then where the angle of incidence is 90 degrees, then it is getting high amount of solar energy. Why? Because the sun rays are directly falls on the surface of the earth. Okay, if the angle of incidence 90 degrees, then the temperature and then the amount of heat absorbed by the earth is also very high. Okay, by observing this concept, we can conclude that if the angle of incidence is increasing, then the temperature also increases. And if the angle of incidence is very less, or if the angle of incidence is decreasing, then the temperature levels also decreases. Okay. This is about the concept of angle of incidence. And now let us see the concept of temperature. Okay, and temperature and relationship with the land and water. Okay, how the temperature affecting land and water. Okay, suppose if you see the land is the good absorber. Okay, land is the good absorber. Okay, that is why whenever the sun rays falls on the land immediately absorbing the solar radiation, and it is heating up immediately. That is why the temperature also increases immediately. Okay, suppose whenever after the sunsets, it cools down. Why? Because it is the good absorber of heat and cool. Land is the good absorber of heat and cool. That is why the temperature falls down immediately during the night time, and the temperature will be increases on the land during the daytime. Okay, on the land the temperature will be very high due to the nature of land. Okay, land is the good absorber of food, heat and cool. Okay, that is why the temperature is very high during the daytime and the temperature is very low during the night time. Okay, on the land. Okay, on the inner lands, like suppose if you see the Delhi, if you observe the temperature of Delhi, then during the night time it is showing and it is having about lesser than 20 degrees of temperature in the summer season. Okay, if you see the temperature of Delhi during the daytime, it is very high. Why? Because the land is the good absorber. Okay, the Delhi is not having any coastal regions. Okay, that is why the state or the city Delhi is having very high temperatures during the daytime, and during the night time it is having very low temperatures. Okay, now let us see about the water. Water is not heating up very fastly, and water is not cooling very fastly. That is why the coastal regions are having, suppose if you see the coastal region of India, okay, if you see the coastal region of India, here it is the state Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat. These are the different types of coastal states which are present in the India. Okay, these states are having moderate temperature. Why? Because the water is not a good conductor of heat, or it is not a good conductor, or it is not a good absorber of heat and good absorber of cool. Okay, in this way we can conclude that the temperature is very high and the land is the good conductor of heat and cool, and the water is not a good conductor of heat and cool. Okay, by this we can conclude that the temperature levels are very high during the daytime in the land, and the temperature levels are moderate during the daytime in land or in coastal regions. Okay, now let us see the one more concept, and how the atmosphere is heating of atmosphere. Heating of atmosphere. Heating of atmosphere. Heating of atmosphere. Okay. During the daytime, the Earth is always absorbing the solar radiation and gives out the solar radiation at the same time. Okay, some amount of solar energy is absorbing by the Earth, and the remaining amount the remaining amount of the solar radiation will be gives out from the surface of the earth, and some of the solar radiation will be reflected at the place of clouds and from the dust particles which are present in the atmosphere. Okay, suppose if it is the earth, if any sun rays are falling, suppose if any sun rays are falling on the earth, okay, in this way some sun rays are absorbing us, so some solar radiation or solar energy absorbed by the earth. Okay, some of the solar rays are absorbed by the earth and gives out the remaining solar energy to the atmosphere. Okay, when the traveling of sun rays through the atmosphere of the earth, okay, the atmosphere of the earth is having so many dust particles and so many gases, and the atmosphere is also having some clouds also. Okay, due to the clouds and the dust particles, some sun rays are reflected from the clouds, and sun rays are reflected by the dust particles and by the gases which are present in the atmosphere of the earth. And about 1/3 of the solar energy is radiated from the atmosphere of the earth, and only remaining 2/3 of the earth, 2/3 of the solar energy reaches to the surface of the earth. Okay, after absorbing some amount of solar energy, remaining amount will be reflected to the atmosphere. Okay, whenever the solar radiations or whenever the sun rays reflected back to the atmosphere, it is generally heating the atmosphere. Okay, whenever the radiation process, whenever the earth radiating the solar energy, due to the earth's radiation, the atmosphere will be heating. Okay, in this way the heating of atmosphere process will be done on the surface of the earth. Okay, now let us see about global warming. Okay, whenever the sun rays are reflected from the surface of the earth, okay, some sun rays are prevented by the gases which are present in the atmosphere. Okay, when the sun rays are reflected from the earth's surface during the daytime, the reflected sun rays are prevented by the molecules or prevented by the gases like carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide which are present in the atmosphere. Okay, due to holding the sun rays in the atmosphere, in the earth's atmosphere, it is generally heating the atmosphere. Of earth. Due to the heating the atmosphere, the temperature levels are increasing in the atmosphere. Okay, this is called global warming. The overheating of atmosphere, it is called global warming. The overheating of atmosphere called global warming. Okay, global warming is caused by whenever the sun rays are radiated from the surface. Suppose if the sun rays prevents by the gases which are present in the atmosphere, Earth's atmosphere, that are carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, due to this prevention, the sun rays heating the atmosphere. Okay, due to the heating of atmosphere which is present on the surface of the earth, it causes global warming. Okay, this is about the concept of global warming. Okay, now let us see about the temperature. How the temperature will be measuring? Okay, with the help of thermometer we can measure the temperature. Okay, then how can we measure the temperature of a day, and how can we measure the highest temperature on a day and the lowest temperature on a day? Okay, with the help of 6 maximum minimum temperature thermometer, we can measure the maximum temperature of a day and we can measure the minimum temperature of a day. With the help of 6 maximum and minimum thermometer, we can measure the highest temperature or maximum temperature of a day and the minimum temperature of a day. Okay, now let us see where the highest temperature recorded on the earth. Okay, in Azizia, which is located in Libya. Libya, in the continent of Africa. In the continent of Africa, the highest temperature was recorded, that is about 57.6 degrees Celsius. About 57.8 degrees Celsius was recorded as the highest temperature in the year 1922. In the year 1922, in the month of July, the highest temperature was recorded in the continent of Africa, in Algeria. In the place of Algeria, the highest temperature was recorded, that is 57.8 degrees Celsius. Okay, this is the highest temperature that was ever recorded on the surface of the earth in the year 1922 in the month of July. Okay, Algeria is located in the Libya country and which is located in the continent of Africa. This is about the highest temperature recorded on the earth. Okay, now let us see the lowest temperature that was recorded on the earth. Okay, in Mozart station. In Mozart station, that is located in the continent of Antarctica. The lowest temperature was recorded, that is minus 89.2 degrees Celsius. Okay, what is the minimum temperature or what is the lowest temperature that was recorded on the earth? Minus 89.2 degrees Celsius. Okay, in the year 1983, it was recorded. In the year 1983, it was recorded in the Mozart station, which is located in the Antarctica continent. Okay, Antarctica is the frozen continent. Okay, that is why the temperature levels are very low. The temperature levels are very low in Antarctica. Why? Because it is the frozen state. It was in frozen state. Okay, the lowest temperature is about minus 89.2 degrees Celsius was recorded in the year 1983. Okay, this is about the highest and lowest temperatures recorded on the surface of the earth. And now let us see about the temperature variance on the surface of the earth and atmosphere. How the temperature will be varying in different places. Okay, and what is the relationship between the temperature and height? Okay, now let us see the concept of relationship with the temperature with the height. Okay, generally as we are moving from the surface of the earth to the higher places, the temperature is about 6 degrees of temperature will be decreases. Okay, as we move from the surface of the earth, let us assume that if it is the earth, okay, as we move from the surface of the earth is about 1000 meters. For every 1000 meters, the temperature will be decreases about 6.4 degrees Celsius. How much temperature will be decreases for every 1000 meters? As we are moving from the surface of the, as we move away from the surface of the earth to the higher places, then the temperature will be decreases for every 1000 meters about 6.4 degrees Celsius. Okay, in this way the temperature is varying on the different parts of earth. Okay, thank you children. This is entire class about the revision for FAT examinations. Okay, all the best for your FAT examination children. Thank you.